All right, today we're playing Trivia Battleship, basically. So this is an event called Battle of the No. It's a trivia competition organized by my friend ZeroXGG, another member of the GeoGuessr community. And this is a fun one because basically what's going to happen is that there are going to be 10 or 12 or some number of different questions, and each question has a wide number of possible answers. Basically, there's this whole scoring system that you can read up here that I won't go into necessarily because it's super detailed. I think the crux of it all is gotta do my best. Okay, we're starting off with number 1. Name 4 metric units whose standard abbreviated representation is a single letter. Here's how this works. So there are tons and tons of metric units out there that you could name. There's way more than 4, but I need to put down 4 here, 2 for defense and 2 for attack. So I'm trying to read everybody else who's playing this minds. I'm trying to come up with defense ones for each question that nobody else has guessed. I'm trying to come up with attack ones that everybody gets. And you get more points for successfully figuring out what other people are getting. All right, so we're starting with a science one, and that worries me a little bit because I think this community is generally a little bit stronger than I am at this kind of science stuff. There was a chemistry one last time that I messed up pretty badly because I didn't know that cyanide was an ion. It is a metric unit. We're using the metric system. I think SI prefixes are probably metric units and that they're not imperial ones, so you might be able to say things like micron, I guess. I suppose that's metric. It better be metric, given how well it fits into the decimal system. I might put micron here for now, but that's assuming that I can actually come up with further answers. What are the SI units? Like lux, candela, mass, like the key. I'm getting unit and quantity mixed up, honestly. Pascal pressure is measured in pascals, which I think is a P. Current is measured in amperes, which I think is an A. Resistance is measured in ohms, which I believe is omega. Now here's where this comes in. The answer does not have to be a Latin letter. I just listed a couple there that use Greek letters. I think I can go for, yeah, like I said, micron is represented by, I think, mu. What did I just say? Resistance is represented by an omega. So maybe we'll say resistance here. I might mess this up royally. But we'll say current for here, maybe. Oh, no, ampere? Ampere? Wait, hang on. The unit versus the quantity. The meter measures length. So the ampere measures current. Okay, so ampere. We'll say ampere. Resistance is measured in ohms, which are represented by omegas. Okay, we're getting there. We're remembering how science works. What else is represented by a letter? I feel like, I don't know. I'm trying to pluck out buzzwords that I've heard from Science Quiz Bowl. I'm liking angstrom and Rydberg. Angstrom is like a tiny unit of length that might be metric, might not be metric, who knows. Rydberg, I can't remember what Rydberg's measure. Is it radiation or something? That's not even a metric unit, is it? Well, if I get this wrong, I'm going to chalk it up to not understanding what metric units are and then move on with the next one. All right, so for question 2, where am I? For question 2, we're asked to name 4 of these 30 people. Now, I am terrible with faces. I'm so much better at remembering like names and places than faces. I'm a little bit dismayed here that I'm having difficulty recognizing a lot of these people. So I will go with people that I recognize. I think the 2 least recognizable necessarily are Wilson and Eisenhower. At least those are the 2 that I don't recognize that I still maybe have any idea about. For a second I thought this was Hitchcock, but I feel like that's not what Zero would do. So I'm going to put Wilson here, Eisenhower here, and for attack I will put Bezos and Merkel. I truly don't know what to do here. This is going to be a bad one for me. I'm just going to try to get 4 correct answers, and if I can manage that, that's a win. All right, on to number 3. Okay, name 4 novels for which at least one of the words in the title is a number. This is one that I've been thinking about. So when the questions are released, all the questions are technically public and you can get all the time you want to think about them, or at least until the deadline. But I looked through these once and forgot most of them. This is one that I didn't forget, that I kept thinking about. So number here does not in fact mean integer, which means that in theory we could go for a bunch of the Sue Grafton detective novels that have like A is for blank, B is for blank. But unfortunately, I don't remember what E and I stand for. E might be evidence, and I might be identity. Not sure. I'm not certain enough, and I don't want to risk it. I obviously also didn't look it up. But what I will go for though is I Claudius, which I believe to be A novel by that guy whose name starts with G. That Graves, I think, maybe Graves. And for number 2, I'm going to go with a more standard answer. I'm not going to try to cheese both of these with a non-integer number. So I'll say one day in the life of Ivan Denisovich. Shout out to my man Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I believe the 1970 Nobel laureate for literature. If you know, you know. And for attack, we've got some. I think some relatively gettable ones, including like the Three Musketeers. As well as A Tale of Two Cities. I think these are the ones that I thought that I would go for. I was also considering One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That feels like a gettable one. There's a lot of like generic ones, but I'm happy with these. I don't want to spend too much longer on these, so we'll keep going. Number 4 is to name 4 musical composers who were alive at some point when Franz Liszt was alive. Given that he lived to 74 and that the Romantic period is like somewhere around that long, I feel like if I just guess Romantic composers, I'll probably get close. For attack, I'm gonna go with Chopin, because Liszt and Chopin had that bromance going on. For number 2, let's say, was Beethoven alive at any point that Liszt was? I feel like Beethoven I think died around the 1830s or 40s, and Liszt would have been popular somewhere in like the late 1800s, probably. I don't want to risk it. Not gonna say someone as old as Beethoven. I might say Mahler. So for defense, I can pull out, I think, some obscurish romantic composers and try to work from there. Who are some obscurish romantic composers? In terms of like the third rung of composers in like quiz bowl circles, I want to say like Messiaen maybe, or Villalobos maybe. I think very few people would put Olivier Messiaen. Who else will I put here? Maybe I will put Villalobos. I bet there's some like jazz composers who would have been around at the same time that like would completely throw people off. But my knowledge of like super early jazz composers is I don't remember like who's the earliest. Just to keep things moving, I think I'll put in Villalobos and move on. Okay, number 5. Oh god, I forgot about this one. Give the answers to 4 of the problems below. Pencil and paper allowed, calculators are not. I don't want to do the math. Okay, some of these are pretty easy. The area of a square with side length 9 is going to be 81. Rectangle with 2 sides of length 6 and 8 is going to be 48. Yes. Triangle with 3 sides of length this whatever, it's going to be 5 times 12 is 60 divided by 2 is 30. Once it gets past here, I like forget all the formulas. Except for the volume of a sphere. The volume of a sphere, I feel like, is in there somewhere. I want to say it's 4/3 pi r cubed. So we'll put that, I guess. And the volume of a regular tetrahedron with side length 4. This honestly should be pretty gettable. I'll just put 32/3 there. And then I'm just going to put some of the easier ones up here. I'll put 30 for attack. I'll put 81 here because I assume someone's going to do this. I assume people don't want to do... I assume there's going to be at least one other person who doesn't want to do math. I'm not going to check my answers here. I don't particularly care if I get these wrong. We'll keep going. Name 4 League of Legends champions. Oh, God. I played League like one time in middle school and then didn't forever. I want to say Teemo is very famous. I want to say Thresh is pretty famous. I'll put those there. There's that, like, paladin guy that is, like, the one everyone started with back then. Like, named, like, Garen or something. There's that tongue monster guy. It's not the Tungulus, that's something else, but I can't remember what. Dear God, this is gonna go so badly. Who are some League of Legends champions? Oh, let's put Thresh here, and I'll put Garen here because I can't think of anything. I want to say Miss Fortune is a thing, but that might be from a completely different video game. Maybe it's Overwatch, maybe it's Apex, I don't know. It's a name that I've heard before in esports contexts. And I don't think that if I think about this for that much longer, I'll get anywhere, so I might just continue on from here. Alright, name 4 cities that were bombed during World War II. Dresden, probably. Firebombing of Dresden is a thing. I think that's World War II. I want to say either Dortmund or Dusseldorf? One of the two. I can't remember which. I was listening to a jet lag podcast where the boys were talking about this, and I don't exactly remember which one it was. I'll say Dortmund. What am I doing? Attack and attack have to be Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like, surely. Surely. And then here I'll go, like, Dresden and Dortmund, Düsseldorf. I'll say Dortmund. I think it was. I think they said Dortmund in the podcast. When I heard it, I was like, "Is this maybe Dusseldorf instead?" But I'll trust the jet lag boys, and I'll say Dortmund and keep going. Name 4 countries that have participated in but never won Eurovision. Australia, I think, has participated and hasn't won, and the USA, I think, has participated and hasn't won. I don't know if I can name any other ones for sure. I think Estonia hasn't, because I remember reading somewhere that their highest scoring placement was that like Rockefeller street song that got Nightcore and became super popular. I'll say Estonia for defense. I guess I can just name a random obscure European country. Like Malta. Has Malta ever won? Surely they participated. I'll say Malta. Okay. All right. This game. Okay. This is a running joke because every single one of the Battle of the Nose so far has featured a name 4 Greek letters question. This is the third one. In the first one, it was like delta and gamma that were like the optimal ones, and the second time it was like the slightly more obscure ones like pi and epsilon or whatever. So the question now is whether it has looped back around to the really gettable ones being the optimal things to guess here, or if it's like genuinely they just get gradually more and more obscure. I think it's more likely that it's looped around. Didn't work last time. I'm gonna try it this time. We'll go delta gamma for attack. Then for defense, this is a tough one. Because the thing is, everyone knows all the Greek letters. Let's go for theta here, because I feel like people... This feels like the kind of like semi-obscure one that people will assume other people know, that by this time people have forgotten about. And let's also go with Chi. And we'll continue. All right. Name 4 dishes in the cuisine of a Southeast Asian country. Okay, this is like the other one that I remembered and I was trying to think through. There's some very, very good possibilities here. But the first thing I'm going to do is figure out the attack. I'm going to say banh mi because I feel like that's like the quintessential Southeast Asian thing. And will people be bold enough to say pad thai? Or will they say something like pad see ew? I think I will still say pad thai. Because I feel like surely someone says pad thai. If not for defense, then surely for attack at least. For defense, I think I need to go for things that are just really, really out there. Halo Halo is a really delicious Filipino, like, shaved ice kind of thing. And for here, I want to go, maybe bakute, which is like a stew. Or do I want to go tetarik, which is like a Malaysian, like, milk tea kind of thing? Which one's more obscure? I think I'll go bakute. Okay. We'll go Philippines, like Malaysia, Indonesia, it's usually a little bit of a toss-up. Banh mi and pad... Ooh, wait, hang on. Do we do balut? I feel like balut is the kind of thing that people know about, but people think is pretty obscure, because it is. It's like the fertilized duck egg. Do we think people are going to go balut? I think someone is. I'm going to switch over to balut. And if pad thai was a better answer, so be it. All right. I think I've done... okay. I won the first one by fluke somehow. The second one went okay. This one I think I took maybe a few more small little risks that may or may not pay off. But what you want to know is the results to see how everyone did. And I'll be back with those for you right. Hello, it is later now. Let's get a full view of what the results ended up being. So, it looks like I ended up sort of below average in the middle of the pack, but that's, honestly, I'm okay with that because there were a lot of things that I sort of punted on that ended up being right, and also a lot of things that I got wrong that I should have gotten right. I'll do a quicker deep dive here, but in the meantime, congratulations to Clue for the amazing, amazing score of 128 here, and well played to everybody else who participated in BOTK3. Alright, let's take a look at what other people said, and I'll go through some of the highlights here because I don't want to go through the whole thing. I'll scroll through it eventually and you'll be able to see what people put, but yeah. So for the first question, the metric units, Rydberg was unfortunately incorrect. The unit, I think, abbreviation is like RY or something like that. Unfortunate. For number 2, I sort of stumbled my way into points because the people that I put down were not the people that I thought they were. Oh well. I didn't deserve points there, so I'll take a 5 for defense. For number 3, the books with numbers in the titles. So I, Claudius, wasn't accepted, and maybe that's fair because I was being a little cheeky about it. One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich was accepted, and my answers of Tale of Two Cities and, what did I say? Three Musketeers were, in fact, good for attack. So that is a good number of points there. For composers, okay, I made a mistake. I thought that Liszt was way later than he actually was. I guess he sort of ushered in the Romantic era when he was already grown, and a lot of other people that I put down were people who grew out of the Romantic area, as it were. Oh well, too bad. So the league question was actually really, really difficult for a lot of people, and the fact that I was able to pull like 4 distinct champions that were all correct is nothing short of a miracle, I think. So I'm very, very happy with how that went. Okay, so for this one about Eurovision, US was incorrect, and I don't know where I got that impression from. I just feel like I heard somewhere that Australia was one of the weird ones that made it in, and I thought that the US had done one as well or something like that, but oh well. It doesn't really matter. I don't follow Eurovision enough, and the fact that I was able to pull off Malta, I think I'm very happy with. And this last one, oh my god, there's so much good food here. It looks like the optimal things to guess were like laksa and because a million people said pad thai, but no one actually said it for defense, probably because most people just know elements of Southeast Asian cooking. Oh well. So lost some gettable points, but I think I did okay overall and had some good pulls. I'm particularly happy about the Southeast Asian foods, and I was happy about One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich. This is again interesting because the format is one that benefits accurate appraisal of everyone else's strengths and knowledge pools. So I think this is a very, very interesting exercise, at least in terms of being both a quiz player and a quiz writer. I may not have done ideally in this one. I had a lot of risky guesses that ended up being incorrect or not taken, but that'll be it for now. I might come back with another one soon. Who knows? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.